Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I'm your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
All right, Justin, I got a few questions for you to start off. Do you like lizards?
They're fine.
Do you like snakes?
They're cooler than lizards.
Do you like tortoises?
A little too slow for me.
Do you like frogs?
Yeah, frogs are cool.
Do you like toads?
Yeah.
Do you like sharks?
Yeah.
Do you like jellyfish?
No.
Do you like octopi?
Yeah, they're cool.
And do you like squid?
Yeah, squids are cool.
Do you like whales?
Yeah.
Do you like crabs?
Yeah. They're okay.
I like all those things.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. Now that I got all those questions out of the way, how was this week for you?
This week's been fine. The reading was good. I'm excited to get to part 5.
Yeah, this week's reading was pretty. It was good and it was easy. It's just like read a whole lot. So yeah, I've been reading. I've read a couple hundred pages of Mistborn 2, Well of Ascension as well. It feels like forever since I finished the reading for Rhythm of War. I look forward to being able to continue and finish part 5. So hopefully we have a good conversation here. I was telling you about connections I found. I didn't look up a certain person's name in my notes, but anyway, before we get into talking about the book, and I have some theories and all these things, we are sponsored by Mudcat Whiskers. You can visit them at their website, mudcatwhiskers.com, and they are a Louisiana beard care product company. He also sells candles. They come in a variety of scents. Um, all the scents of the candles come in the beard care products, and he even has some seasonal scents that he does every now and then. So I use daily, I use his beard wash conditioner and his beard balm, and that keeps my beard soft and, you know, comfortable and looking nice. And then if I choose to, I'll put some oil in. It gives it a little shine and adds a little scent to it. So yeah, check him out at his website and use code paperweights at checkout to save yourself 15%. So, all right. So you remember, was it last episode or the one before we were talking about dragons and who we thought the dragon was on Roshar?
That was last episode.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it and I was like, man, if dragons in the Cosmere hoard information, um, and other things, then a great place for Dragon to be on Roshar is in the communications center of Tashik with all the span reads. So I am going to set my official theory of the dragon on Roshar being the overweight scribe that works in Tashik that Lift had ran into in Edge Dancer.
Shot in the dark, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, but also, when reading Well of Ascension, I was reading it and a random ass scout came up and was giving a report to Ellen. And I was like, why is this name familiar? And I was like, is this just a bizarre name? And I feel like I've seen it somewhere. And we saw it as early as last reading in Stormlight Archives. And the guy was a scout in Stormlight Archives, and his name's Felt. And I was like, surely two characters on two different planets in the Cosmere aren't going to have the same obscure name. Um, I didn't Google it. I didn't look up anything because I didn't want anything to be spoiled, but I did actually take notes um, in Oathbringer whenever he was first introduced, and he has the same description as the scout in Well of Ascension. The droopy mustache. Um, so yeah, he happened to be the guy, the scout that went to the Night Watcher with Dalinar, and Dalinar was like, why didn't she talk to you?" And he said something about along the lines of, "She doesn't like to talk to foreigners." And Dalinar's like, "Oh, well, then she probably won't talk to me. I'll probably have some trouble too." He goes, "I think you're a little less of a foreigner than I am." So, um, we'll see what he's doing there. We know he's with Adolin's group in Shadesmar right now. So we'll see who he's what group of secret group of people he's working with that world hops. So
Yeah, guess maybe he'll be relevant. But I don't know. Could just
I,
be Greg.
I would hope that he's relevant.
I don't know. A lot of shit in these books have not been relevant at all. So we'll see.
It's the long game, Justin.
Let's see.
Yeah. It's got to build up to that
It's
you know,
building.
that Avengers Endgame level type thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you knew, so look, if you knew while watching the MCU that it was building towards that thing and you're watching all these individual movies, you'd be like, well, what does this have to do with that? Like, because there's a lot of those MCU movies that I watch and I'm like, okay, well, this is a fine movie by itself, but I don't see how it really feeds into the Thanos arc. Um, but I already know that you don't really like that much material that goes into things where you have to watch or read everything to understand certain things. You've made that very clear. Uh,
No, it's not that. It's more that right now, and maybe it'll change with book five, or it's basically pointless. Like none of us matter. So it needs to go one way or the other. And this book is already so slow that like we don't need to introduce all this other BS from other worlds where the actual plot of this book needs to happen, which I think it might in part five of the final part of this book. Finally. So it's more just that. It's just like none of it's matter. Like all the interludes for the most part are pointless. Like like they're cool, but like they haven't tied back in anything. Not even Risen. Risen it might as well not even matter to the plot of this book of the series. So like a lot of it's just cool and like fun world building that might come up again. I don't know. So like a lot of it's just like just I get to the characters that I care about and I'll be happy basically.
yeah, no, I can see your point. I wish the plot, like the main plot, moved a little bit faster, but what I read is pretty cool. I mean,
It's more like
even even Well of Ascension, so the pacing in Well of Ascension is very slow.
sure, but it's about the
I'm
characters like it's about the characters of the books. You don't have like whole chapters of random guy over here doing stuff, which is what this stuff does. and it's none of it's bad. And I think it needs. I feel like he needs to pick a direction, and probably in the next book he'll pick it where like either it needs to matter or not matter and just not exist, right? We need the Sazed and all of his people to come in and like interact with Adolin and Dalinar or just like not exist. I don't need to read any more letters about people being like, maybe we should do something. Like, I just need you to do it. Like, I'm a little tired of. That's my thing. It's like it kind of feel like fence sitting or like Easter eggs instead of like plot points. And I want it to be plot points
Okay, okay, okay.
than like it's like the Azure stuff, and even like Zio, they're like Easter eggs. Like Azure's not really a character that matters. Maybe she'll come back, but she's just like, ooh, remember her?
Zyle is not an Easter egg because he is responsible for bringing over Nightblood, and we know that
Nightblood's
Nightblood.
still an Easter egg. Like if you name Nightblood a different thing, and like it wasn't like it does right now it doesn't matter. Like they matter kind of to the plot, but not really. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, with the interlude we read to for this section implies that Nightblood
Able to
is
kill or
essential to defeating Odium.
yeah, but he's just a MacGuffin, right? I'm just saying, like Zio as a character hasn't mattered. He hasn't really done anything. He like Vivenna hasn't done anything. So they were basically just Easter eggs. Ooh, remember Warbreaker? I'm like, no, but not you do, so that's cool. I mean, it's cool stuff, right? But it's like either give us like Zio teaching Paladin stuff, or like just make these characters matter. Make Risen matter. I want Risen to interact with our regular characters. She's just kind of pointless. I don't know. It's just kind of meandering and like it's good. Like none of the writing's bad. It just feels all over the place and there's so many characters. That's my thing. And like I don't know if all this stuff is just Easter eggs. Because like the dude, Felt or whatever, right? He's not mattered yet. So in order for him to matter with Brandon saying all these in his lectures and stuff, he's a lot about promises and writing. He needs to like be more prominent for him to actually matter when he does something. Because if you hadn't said any of that, and he turned out to be like I don't know, assassin. He's the guy that killed or he's like a ghost blood assassin or whatever. And I would just be like, I would have just been like, oh, okay, or this random dude turned out to be an assassin. Where you now you'd be, oh shit, this is a guy from Mistborn and blah 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 blah. But like, so like he needs to be set up more and than just like a weird Easter egg from the thing. So it's just
I think it sets up for that surprise where like it's so easy to overlook that. I would not have picked up on that had I not just reread or in the process of rereading Well of Ascension, right?
yeah,
And so it is those little nuggets, and a lot of it came from like the fact that early books and this book four, Rhythm of War, is including a whole lot more Cosmere connection, but all the books prior to that release, it was, he had this concept for the Cosmere, but he couldn't just go and, hey, look, as a new author, hey, I have an idea for a 27 book series. They're interconnected. Can we do it? They'd be like, why don't we try one first? And so, that he says, okay, well, I'll just have some minor connections here. If I get published, which he ended up doing, then I'll start to connect them. And now he's so big where it's like, all right, I'm going to do what I want to do with it. So I think a lot of the earlier stuff, he was kind of just held back by publishing.
yeah. I'm just so it's gonna be very obscure. I know it. I've played this JRPG series. It's the Legend of Heroes Trails. It's called the Trails series. It's basically like 10 or 11 JRPGs, and they're doing this interconnected stuff. But each game is like self-contained story arcs, and then when characters from the other games enter into it, it's like really cool. And I feel like he hasn't done that yet. Like you'll have like the main protagonist that you played like come in and like help you fight a key battle and stuff like that, and it's like, oh shit. It's like I want those, and maybe like spoilers for Mistborn, like Vin's not going to show up, right? Probably she turned into a weird, I can't remember, thing in the sky. Like so like the Warbreaker people already showed up, but that was a one-off that nobody really cares about. Um,
You just
like,
insulted the fans of Warbreaker.
sorry, it's one of his lesser beloved series. Um, I don't, I don't. Maybe Wax and Wayne will show up from Era 2. Like, we need some like heavy hitters to like come in instead of like if Sazed like walked up. I don't even know what the shards are, if they're people now or if they just live in the sky. Like they're so nebulous that like I just need the connections to like matter instead of just Wit shows up every once in a while in all the books and like says a cool cool thing about storytelling, which is always kind of fun but pointless, and then like does some stuff, talks with Yasna. Like I want, if you're gonna do it, I want it to be more. Like the Xyle stuff was cool, but it's like the only thing that's really been a thing, and like Nightblood. But like I'm trying to think what of his other like Elantris, I don't remember. I've never finished Elantris, so maybe there's some Elantris people. I think the problem is he only has really two universes that matter, quote unquote. Like there's the Mistborn universe and then there's the Radiant universe. And then the other ones are like little one-offs that don't really matter. So you need to do stuff with Mistborn, which we're getting because just Gadriel and shit. We were getting some of that, but we need like the characters that matter, and the characters that matter to me in Mistborn are not going to be in this book because of stuff that happens at the end of book 3 of Mistborn.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird. I'm just grasping.
Okay.
I also think if this book was better, I wouldn't care that
Well, hopefully, section 5 part 5 will
much.
change your mind. So, all right,
Yeah,
let's
I'll just say this one last thing. For the overarching, what I feel this book so far, it really feels like a slog book of the wheel time, where this stuff needs to happen, and we just have to read it to get to the good parts. Like it feels like Path of Daggers of wheel time. Just kind of like I need this plot point to happen, and you're gonna read this 800-page book about it, and you're gonna be okay with it. And hopefully, like the rest of the later good books of Wheel of Time is book 5. So we'll see in book 6 and whatever. So that's kind of what I was thinking just reading. I'm like, none of this stuff is bad. It just kind of like happened. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a lot of noise coming through your microphone. I don't know if
Uh,
it's just like when your desk shakes or something. It's just like
uh,
I think that's better. Talk.
test.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it fell over.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You sound a whole lot better now. Yay.
Hey,
Hey, everybody. This is a different Justin.
I've been bunny swapped.
All right. Let's jump in 18 and a half minutes later. We're going to jump in chapter 87. We want to cover the epigraphs last or first?
We can do it now. I don't really remember them. You have
Okay.
anything about them?
Yeah. So um, it's basically excerpts from in Calic's journal as he's in lasting integrity. So it's leading up to uh, him being discovered by and I'm not sure if he knew if it was the Ghost Bloods that were after him or he knew somebody was after him. And so like he talks about him used to being using words and everything, but now he's like, I don't know why I need to do this. Why do I write? He talks about Yezrian being gone. He felt it. Um, uh, the war has been going on for 7,000 years. He can't remember, and even though he was told that investiture, so Midius, whoever this is, told him they could use investiture to enhance their minds and the memories, so they wouldn't forget so much. But he's like, why would I even want to remember any of this, or a lot of this? But the big thing that I took away, a couple big things is, so he confirmed that Yezrian is actually dead. He knows about the sword and trapping the heralds in the gemstone, but trapping them in the gemstone breaks their connection. And so if the connection is
Yeah.
broken for so long,
And like their souls are frayed or whatever, so they just kind of dissipate.
yeah, they dissipate into the beyond. Um, let's see. And then he talks about not being afraid of dying. He's like, "Come here, I'll welcome the death." Um, talks about Bado Mishram and that he knows. So he was there when she was captured. He knows the truth of the Radiance, the Recreants, and the Nile Spren. And I think the truth that he's referring to was the fact that the Spren and the Radiance agreed to whatever it was. Um, and the basically the resolution of Adolin and Myalara in the trial.
Yeah.
And then he's in this writing, he requests, he kind of urges them, you need to release Bado Mishram, because she won't fade like the heralds will. She'll just remain there forever. And that so many people suffered whenever she was captured. And so it probably did the most harm on Roshar capturing her. And so to release her from the gemstone that she is in.
Yeah.
So
Because apparently it did something to the planet or whatever. I mean, we still don't know why they did the records. We know kind of how now. But it was a connected thing. Yeah. We don't know where the gemstone is though. But Mishram.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, because it's not the gemstone that Gavilar had, because that's just anti-light. So we actually don't know. So we actually can't release it. I'm gonna guess it's probably with the like God Emperor guy, the other herald. That seems like a thing that would happen.
What about the Shin? Would the Shin have it?
Maybe the Shen. It feels like a stone you could storytelling wise kill with when Dalinar treats with the bondsmith. Yeah, like, oh, I have this gem for you. And he like uses his like bondsmith power to maybe turn it from an unmade to a regular spren or some shit like that. It just seems like a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. A lot of cool stuff. Um, yeah, we can move on to chapter 87, trial by witness. Uh, Adolin Shallan. This is starts with Adolin's trial. Hence the title. Um, so we get a bunch of like witnesses stepping forth. We get uh Amuna, which is the caretaker of the Deadeyes, and she kind of testifies about how tragic it is for all the Deadeyes who have died, and taking care of them and all that sort of thing. To, you know, just kind of like you know they're building a holding cell for Aelin because he's gonna, which was funny, uh, for him to be in prison in because they're not gonna kill him. Um, So yeah. So that happens. There's a thing where like you can't answer questions or else you invite the audience like talk to you, just kind of strange.
You can't
Um
ask a question.
yeah.
Like
It's
if you ask,
directly a question.
yeah, yeah. So like the audience can talk, they can't ask questions. They can make statements, but you as the witness, if you ask a question of the audience, then that gives them more. It turns it into a conversation. Is the kind of
Yeah.
the understanding I had. Um, during Amuna's testimony, Adolin does bring up like Syl and the Stormfather, and of course, they don't have a great. I mean, they have reverence for Syl, but they also think that she's basically like a black sheep or the prodigal daughter, if you will. Um, and then, of course, the Stormfather just being a remnant uh, of honor himself. And Kellic comes in and says that the Stormfather is basically all that they have left of Tanavast, who apparently was the shard holder for honor.
Yeah. And we find out that Dalinar almost killed the Stormfather. When do you think that was? Was that when he was like, you will not have my pain, like that sort of thing, when he's almost turning evil? Or was that when he was trying to like he made the storm go back and like hurt him or whatever?
Um, I, I can't remember. I don't think it was in this one. I don't think it was in this part where he made the storm go back, but it was something he made the storm do. It was twice we've seen Dalinar make the Stormfather do something,
Yeah.
and I think it was the first time. Um, I think it was the first time that he did it. Um, it might have been when Odium came into
To the dream or
that
whatever.
dream, yeah, that
I
vision.
could I could see that.
I,
Just yeah, it was an event that they were able to notice in Shadesmar. I just couldn't quite place it.
yeah, and then another key, a big key note in this witness was that we Kellic mentions that the sibling uh, unbonded, released their bond before the recreance happened, and so he was wondering why the sibling knew that. So maybe we'll
This
get some.
I wonder if the Stormfather did the same thing to like save the planet, unbound himself from if he was bonded at that time.
Um, I don't think the Stormfather was. Um,
Remember when his last bondsmith was?
yeah, I think I remember. For some reason, I'm remembering that the Stormfather was never bound.
Was he?
It was honor because I think whenever Dalinar was doing it, Stormfather was like, "I've never done this before."
Yeah, might fit.
It
But they
sounds
always say
familiar.
there's three bondsmiths, and one of them,
Right, because of the three gods.
yeah,
But Odium, um,
I don't know. Yeah, I can't really remember.
yeah,
But yeah. Then we get the second person. It's Blended. That's his Inkspren lawyer. Um, which is interesting to testify against him. Um, so yeah, she says that humans should not be trusted, but they might even consider bonding the fused. Ooh. So there is a section. We learn that there's sections of people that they're split. They might go into the enemy side, like the Stormbreakers, um,
Skybreakers.
Skybreakers. Never gonna get that right. Um, yeah. And but she wishes to basically have, um, you know, nobody bond because it's too dangerous. Basically, um, yeah, because men are untrustworthy.
And she said singers, not diffused.
Seems about
Bonding the singers. Um, but so Adolin during this he mentions that he'll never serve odium, at which point he gets like a nod of approval from Blended, like, "Hey, that was a good thing to say," because she's kind of playing this like, "All right, well, I kind of agree with the Inkspren that we shouldn't bond humans, but also I don't like that the Honor Spren don't want to bond humans again, so I'm kind of torn here." Um, but I wanted to represent Adolin because it was going against the honor sprint. So she's kind of rooting for him, but also like, hey, I don't really know what I believe. Um, so
yeah. So we get that one, and then the third one is Notum, the honor sprint guy that got injured a bunch and that Adon saved, and he gets to be a cool guy and say, um, "Honor is not dead so long as he lives in the hearts of men." And he shouts that over and over again and inspires a bunch of people, and you can see more of um, the uh, the the way the honor springs are split on what to do. Like they're not a monolith as you would think. And he gets dragged out. They do a lot of stuff in here, which is funny. Where like anyone that talks, they just like throw them out, just make it quiet. Like their contingent gets kicked out.
yeah, yeah. And right after that, and they get kicked out. Like, and he Adolin kind of calls him out, like, "Oh, they bought you," and then that's when Notum just decides to go. Like, oh, it was funny because it mentioned that Adolin gave him the death stare that Dalinar gives, um, and and it's like, okay, look, all right, give your side. He like cheekily is like, all right, tell your story since I got you in trouble. And then that's when he's like, I can't do this, and says his thing in support of Adolin. And after that, Calic just descends into madness, acting like a child with all of the noise and commotion.
Yeah,
So I wonder why Calic it was just his madness.
yeah. Who do you think Notum's gonna bond? He's definitely gonna bond somebody, right?
Yeah, who is
Eh, Maybe David.
Aiden,
Aiden.
the
Which one
little
is he?
boy, the little shoemaker's boy?
Okay.
Yeah,
Get some child soldiers. All right, we need some Metal Gear in here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he at the end of his interlude, he's like, I'm gonna bond one, and runs off because he's I'm gonna be a windrunner.
I could see it.
Notam's got to be the first one to bond, right?
Probably. Yeah. Then we get Shalon. She pulls a scheme by uh
Hold on.
hitting. You good?
Let's see. They just clearing up the end of the trial. The forum is completely cleaned out, and then Adolin is talking with Kalak, and that's he realizes he's insane. Um, and he's like, "I think it went well for me, don't you think?" And then he mentions that Kalak is just like, "Hey, the best of us cracked. Um, even the heralds." Um, why did I put not town per Adolin?
Yeah, Talonite never cracked. It was the
Oh yeah,
ice storm
he got
armor.
pulled through.
Yeah,
That didn't I bring that up last time? I
I
think.
can't remember.
Yeah, so Adolin doesn't think that Talonat cracked. He just got pulled through with everything that came through, which makes sense. Um, and then at the end, Calic worries that Adolin's arguments will actually push the Honor Sprint to have a faction that joins Odium. And then the High Sprint already having done so being one reason that the Honor Sprint haven't done that yet. So the fight between or the disdain between High Sprint and Honor Sprint have kept the Honor Sprint from serving Odium. So
Yeah, and then we get Shallan. She basically hurts herself in a scheme to steal a perfect emerald gemstone full of stormlight, which she does. Um, and so now she has stormlight. It was a fun little caper.
yeah. We do get the mention of a group called the Irie. Um, and inside the place, inside the infirmary, they have a vat that's filled with stormlight, and you can just go and purchase some, and they fill it in. And I thought I wrote, oh yeah, the sphere that she stole actually contains a year's worth of stormlight. And the Sprint's like, what? Where did this go? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't search her, but I guess they're too honorable to do that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
fun chapter. I like this whole like Law and Order courtroom style plot we got going on.
yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it a lot. We can move on unless you got anything else
Nope.
to chapter 88, Falling Star. So they're Eshonai flashback. Um, so so it's 8.5 years ago. Um,
1.5 years ago.
I read that completely wrong. Yeah, a year and a half ago. Jeez. Uh, yeah, yeah. Uh, so yes, regardless. Finley has a captures storm spread, so she's been experimenting with getting the storm forms that we saw in book two. Um, so see what else happened. Oh, what happened with this thing? She she's basically sad that you know they're getting massacred and stuff, and then like a chasm fiend comes and she's like, "What's up, chasm fiend?" And then like, "Oh yeah, this kind of," and then she gets the spread, the timber appears.
You think it's Timber or you think it's a different one?
I mean, timber was around her corpse, so I'm guessing it's the same. I don't know, but it could be a different one. Yeah,
Interesting. It's interesting that if she bonded one and then released the bond, and then she's going to become a different order of radiant.
I don't mean Ash and I never bonded this spread.
Um, this is Eshonai in the storm,
Yeah,
and the Spren follows her.
yeah, but she didn't bond it.
You don't know that.
We've had her point of view for like book two. We would know if she bonded this friend. I mean, maybe this is a retcon, but like I don't know.
Maybe. I really did like the that scene of her in the storm with the chasm fiend. Like it described like the eye was so close to her she could just reach out and touch the eye.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Like I want to see that on a big screen in a anime format.
Would be pretty awesome.
What if it was like what style of animation would you go with? Like would you go with like Final Fantasy Advent Children style, like hyper realistic colors and things like that, or
Um, I would love. I mean, just because it looks so good, Arcane.
I haven't watched it.
It's so good. Um, it's some of the most beautiful animation you'll ever see. It would never work for this because it we need too many episodes. Um, I don't know, any sort of like if you had like was it Mappa that did Chainsaw Man, like if they would be really. I mean, they just make everything look good. So the problem is you'd have to probably do lesser animation because you need so many episodes. But like in a perfect world, you would want like you know 60 episodes of arcane style animation in this, and it looks so good.
You think 60 episodes would cover the whole 5 books?
Probably, like Game of Thrones was able to do like 10 episodes, basically a book. I mean, you have to cut. I mean, you'd always have to cut stuff, but there's plenty of stuff you could cut in these books.
So the hour-long episodes then?
Probably.
Okay. All right. Chapter
I mean,
89.
if you want to do it all, legit, you'd have to do something like that, and it'd look cool as fuck. But it'll never happen because it's so intensive and expensive. But yeah, chapter 89, Navani. So Navani is she's working super hard. She's trying to find the opposite of light. We found out that the sand is from off world, and that Raboniel knows about it, so she's probably been off world. We get some stuff of is this the one where we get a little bit of uh yeah, we get some of Bray's just we get a description of it a little bit. Um oh,
Uh, maybe let's see. Yes.
yeah.
So and Raboniel has not been off out of system. She says her soul is tied to Braze. She can't leave this system.
Yeah.
So she knows about the white sand, but through somebody else.
Yeah. I wonder if she
She knows
travels.
Shadesmar, and that's how she travels back and forth from Braze is through
Yeah.
through Shadesmar.
Yeah. Yeah, Nirvana gets a cool title. Uh Voice of Lights. Uh because she's like, you're a really good scholar, and she's like, thank you. I'm actually pretty good. Um yeah, Navani's getting really good at interpreting the rhythms. She's we get a whole thing of like, maybe our ancestors were not from here, but we are children of Roshar as well, so we should be able to hear the rhythms. She's starting to hear the rhythms. Um, yeah, so she's basically trying to find a thing to kill Odium, we already knew about. Um, yeah, she wants to like get a treaty together, but you can't really do that with Odium still around. Um, and then she gets like a cool demonstration of ancient music. Um, yeah, we get a little bit more of the siblings like I'm scared. Um, and then she realizes that you can do vibrations to like map the opposite of sound or whatever. So she figures it out. That's basically it.
Yeah, a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of like, especially in the later chapter, I was just like, okay, I'm getting lost in the sauce here.
The vibration explanations.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm just like okay, yeah, sure.
all right, I'm trying to figure this out with you, but
It,
okay.
it really reminds me of Star Trek. Just reverse the polarity of the tachyon field. Like that's what they should have just said that. But all right, cool. I get it. You said I guess it's a bunch of fancy mumbo jumbo that may or may not be science. I'm not a sound engineer, so I actually don't know. It's cool. It sounds correct.
Yeah. Uh,
So, but yeah, it is funny. I'm just like, it really just is like, reverse the polarity of the tachyon field, sir. All right, fire.
all right, we did
We did
it.
it. Yay. We created God killing anti-light.
Uh,
Spreading killing light. Dun, dun, dun.
so I'm guessing I came up with this question around the time that uh Raboniel was like, I'm not killing the sibling, I'm unmaking it. And so I thought of like, okay, well, are all the unmade former spren of bondsmiths?
Could
Because
be.
like we know the thrill is an unmade and is highly powerful. We know Bado Mishram is unmade and is super powerful and was able to grant uh like surges and stuff. We know the Stormfather kind of can. So and the sibling does some stuff too. And we know the Night Watcher does some things. So it'd be really interesting if the unmade, like I'm sure you could unmake any Spren, but to have the title of an unmade, I feel like there's something more special about it. And the fact that she's making a sibling who is one of a bondsmith spren into one. Like,
Which means there's has to be a reverse a making thing that you could do. And nobody's learning the opposites of stuff, so I'm guessing she's probably gonna save the remake the sibling probably.
if the sibling in fact does get unmade.
True. And maybe she is able to like remake Bado Meshram and like heal Roshar or something. It'd be kind of cool.
That's a cool theory.
Of course, we have to find it first.
Yeah. So you let's see. So you said Justin says Navani will find a way to remake the unmade Ba'ado Mishram and heal Roshan.
I could see that.
I'm writing that theory down, Justin.
Yeah, because she's like her and Raboni are very much opposites. So like she's able to unmake stuff. So probably Navani's gonna learn how to make it back. But maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah.
We get chapter 90, One Chance. We get some Adolin and Shallan. We get the second day of the trial where Adolin gets to talk. He gets interrupted a bunch and he's like, shut up, basically. Are you not honorable? They're very annoyed. This is where we get the almost killing of the Stormfather, which we're not quite sure of the timeline on there. And Kaladin nearly killing Syl, which we saw. And maybe it's weird that she hasn't shown back up. I wonder where Syl is. I think we get a little hints later in the thing, but we haven't been reunited with Syl yet.
Right.
So we get that. It's kind of his argument is kind of failing. He kind of realizes that they're not gonna you know they're not gonna listen to him. Um, so it's kind of sad.
And this is
For
when he got interrupted by a Sprin asking him if Yasna has tried to kill her Sprin. This is where he screws up and asks the honor Sprin a question, and Kalak's like, "Hey, you opened you opened it for a conversation, so you got to resolve the conversation."
yeah. And then we get to meet Shallan's old pattern, um, Rip Rip old pattern. Um, so as proof that and that's the one we saw in the market. Um, so yeah, I think
No, this is not the one that was in the marketplace. This is not the one that's a trade partner, right? Because there's
uh,
one that came a year ago. Um, this Deadeye cryptic is the one from, or so he remembers there was a cryptic in the marketplace, and then Amuna brings the Deadeye cryptic, who was killed within the past few years, which would be earlier whenever Shallan killed her mom. So like 3 years ago. But there was a cryptic sprint that we saw, or was it a cultivation sprint that we saw in the marketplace?
I don't remember. Um,
Because
but yeah.
that one I thought lined up with the timeline of Dawn Shard.
Anyway, this one's Shallan's old.
Yeah, this one
Uh,
is the one that's brought in to the forum is definitely Shallan's old one.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then we get some Shallan.
But Adolin did give a fucking awesome speech, I would say.
Yeah. Um,
And then we go to Shallan.
yeah. She's basically like, Aegon's gonna lose. So I'm gonna go kill Kellic and take his place. And Vale's like, Vale and Radiant are like, no. And then Formless takes over and she goes, gonna kill him. Basically, that's what happens.
Yeah,
We get a Formless sighting.
they had some sexy time first, though.
Do they? All right. Yeah,
All right. Yeah, I guess.
sure. They're married by lots of sexy time. Uh,
Worth saving?
yeah, we're saving. Anyone, this is a Teft POV. Um, so Teft is in the tower. So he has been healed by Lift. He needs to get recharged every like 10 hours, or else he passes out again, which is pretty funny. Um, so let's see. He his first inkling, which was sad, that he had done the drugs again, but he had not. He'd been magically comatized. Um,
He's been seven clean for 7 months.
yeah, good for him.
Good for Taft.
Yeah,
Good for anybody out there, by the way, that's sober and you are maintaining that. Hats off to you. Keep it
yeah,
up.
yeah. They're kind of trying to figure out what their next move is because um they're not really sure what to do because they're kind of like Navani's been secluded as we saw, you know, yeah, but they're trying to figure it out. We get a little bit more of his parents, like we already knew this story. Um, and then let's see, yeah, they're trying to they basically decide that they're gonna save the Radiants. Um, and then they start trying to figure out how to do that. Um,
I like that Taft is like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get them out to this section, and we're gonna jump out this window. We're like, well, what, aren't we gonna die if we think, well, maybe if we jump far enough, we'll get out of the influence of whatever's going on. It's like, okay. It's like, I'll volunteer. It's like, I'll volunteer to be the first one to jump out. If I don't fly back up, then you know it's not gonna work, and you can try something else.
yeah,
It's like, okay.
rip Teft. That happens. Yeah, yeah, fun little interlude chapter. You got anything else?
Just at the end here, he finally admits to because back of uh, some other chapters with Teft, Finderana was like telling him like, trying to pep him up, kind of like Syl does with Kaladin. And he's like, no, I'll never. It's like he'll never forgive me. And he was like talking about himself. It's like he'll never forgive himself, basically for what his parents did, but or for what he did to his parents. But here he finally admits to her that he is worth saving. Um, but yeah, they Relaine wants to get into the queen's room to get her input on their plan and their path forward. And Taft is happy. He's smiling again because they're all together, and that he was happy he decided to stay in the tower. He's happy he's sober, and he sees that there are still good things in the world, and so he's smiling for
Yeah,
all of those things. And I'm really happy for Taft. I'm happy that he is happy again.
yeah. Yeah.
Too bad
See
he's
you
gonna
later.
die jumping out a window, but
Probably. The death flag is flying a little bit. It's not hoisted yet, but I could see Teft dying. It'd be a good emotional death if you wanted to do that in this battle. But hopefully not. I like Teft. He hasn't said I'm 2 days away from retirement yet, so we have hope. He's not gonna die. You can move on to chapter 92, a gift. This is
a
where I was.
GIF.
Yep, this is where I was proven right last week that the map was the listeners. Wahaha. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So Vinley, it's a Vinley chapter. Um, so um, she's with Verbonio basically. And she's talking about you know, uh, if it's possible to reject odium, and she's like, mm. And she's like, yeah, maybe. And then she's you know, kind of, and then like she gets asked about like her role in the listener's demise and things like that, and she's all, you know, sad about it. And then she uses an old rhythm. Ooh. Um, so
The rhythm of the lost, which Regals aren't supposed to be able to hear.
yep.
And Rabonio picks up on it. She's like,
Mhm. Ooh. Um, and then she basically ends up giving her a reward, which is report that her people are not all dead. Huzzah!
yay, huzzah!
Yay. So maybe her mother is still alive and can give us a history lesson or something.
Yeah. And so we also get confirmation here that relay form is basically scouts. Like I kind of figured. And we also get Vinley realizing that there's kind of two sides to Raboniel. There's like, and they're kind of in conflict a lot. The commander general of the Singer's army, and then the scholar. Lee side, and she thinks that the scholar side is the more truer form of Raboniel. And she just kind of deals with being the commander general because it gives her access to what she needs for her scholarly duties. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh, did you mention that Rabonio does say that she thinks Leshwi would be capable of leading after the Singers win? So she thinks highly of Leshwi as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get chapter 93. Strong enough. This is a Shalon chapter. So she's formless and she's gonna go murder Kellic, and but Vale is able to like pierce through her, and speak to her. They're trying to dissuade her, learning that like formless is actually just Shalon, just interesting, like her insecurities and stuff, but it's just her. She's trying to like make herself into a evil killer. And then Pattern comes up to her, and he's like really worried about her because she's going insane. Um, like she does. Um, and he delivers Wit's message that she deserves to be trusted and loved. Um, and we find out that Radiant killed ILI to save Shalon, um, which is fun. And then she like magically zaps Vale into her soul or something. Basically, that's what happens. Um, so Vale is dead. Rip Vale, but she's now part of Shalon again. Um, yeah, that was pretty cool. And then we find out that she had a. This is where we find out she had a different uh cryptic spren, and that was the one that murked her mom and stuff. So you get all that. Um, but she zaps Vale into side herself, and then we yeah, and she and Kellic meet because she's gonna murder him, and he's like, "You're gonna murder me, right?" And she's like, "Actually, no." And he's like, "Well, fine." Uh, and then basically the honor sprint bursts in and like collusion. You're conspiring against him, and guess what, honored one? You are too tired to attend the trial anymore. You should rest up here forever. That's how it happened.
yeah. Like, hey, you're having one of your episodes today. You're gonna stay here.
Mm.
Kind of almost reminds me of what they did with the God King in Warbreaker, where his priests were just like, "No, you're sick today."
Yeah, you see that a lot in media where like, you know, uh, either older or younger figures usually get like shuffled away, like, oh, you know, you're too weak for this, and then they go and use that to manipulate everything.
What's funny is, so Shalon had disguised herself as Lucentia, which is the Honor Sprint woman, and I'm guessing her disguise went down before she busted in because that chick busted into the room with Saker, who was like the other. I think he's like the eldest honor sprint. Um,
Yeah, I think it went down when a pattern approached her. She was like, Perfect wouldn't be near acting like that, so she dropped it, I think.
Okay.
And well, it dropped. No, that's wrong. It dropped when she melded Veil into herself and used the entire year's worth of Stormlight.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, that entire year's worth of Stormlight just she used that to fight and like consume Vale into herself and basically be less insane.
Maybe. I guess. Hopefully.
Um, but yeah, we do to get the mention of Thydakar again. So Kalak mentions like, oh, I thought Thydakar would be after me. But I also thought Adolin would be the one to try and kill me, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that chapter.
Yeah, it was a good chapter. Rip Veil. She was a real one.
And I feel like Seeker, they may still, but Seeker and Lucentia probably are going to go side with Odium.
Maybe. Maybe see it. Be
I mean,
interesting.
they hinted that there's going to be a split and some honor sprint are good. Go over to Odium.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Excuse me.
You're excused.
All right. Chapter 94.
94, Sacrifice. Really good chapter. Adolin, this is Adolin's third day of his trial. Um, we find out that we already knew this, but the herald's not gonna be presiding. It's gonna be Sekir. I don't know.
Seeker, Saker, whatever.
Saker. Um, he's gonna be judging in his place. And he calls for the final witness, Maya. And then she comes in and like he's like talking for like look at it how they killed her and he still uses her as a weapon and all this stuff. And she had no choice and stuff. And Adolin's very distraught. He's just like, fine, stop it. Um, you know, but Maya is super super pissed off and she comes forth um um and gets a little sentience back and says that they choose, cannot take our choice away from us. We chose. And freaks everybody out because it's really cool. Um,
I really like the, like, because, like, at first she was just, like, crying. Like, she looked scared. Then she struggled against her captors and was trying to speak, but she couldn't. And she was just making guttural sounds. And like Seeker was just like using that as like, see, look, she's whimpering, she's crying because of all the pain and uh and I was like, and Adolin's like, no, you don't speak for her. She wants to speak. You don't speak for her. He's like, no, they can't speak. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I really liked it. And when she finally spoke, it was just like one of those moments like, holy shit.
yeah,
Like I could I could see that that meme from the UFC fight with Joe Rogan where like, oh
yeah, yeah. It was a really good payoff. You cannot. It really also really
it mirrored the
the
Dalinar,
Dalinar.
you cannot
Yeah,
have my pain.
yeah, which is really cool.
That's what you
Um,
were gonna say, right?
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Okay.
Also mirrors, no. I was gonna say it was really cool. It's something been looking forward to since last book when she started talking to Adolin. Um, she seems to have some uh strength left. She starts to say the first oath, which is cool. Um, we'll see what comes of that.
Maya does?
Yeah. Yeah. He nodded back. Thank you. She whispered, strength before weakness. She nodded again, then turned her scratched out gaze towards the ground, exhausted.
I wonder if they have to speak the oaths.
I don't know.
Be
I
interesting.
mean, I have a feeling they're gonna be something different. If maybe they're also like an unmade or something similar to it. So they maybe you know, it'll be a different type of radiant bond, which would be cool. Yeah, then Blended's like, holy shit, that was crazy. I'm gonna go tell everybody. Peace out. Which is funny.
Yeah, and Adolin wants to return to the Oath Gate. Um, yeah, I like this a whole lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
This is where, Blended was like, hey, I went and found documentation of a Spren named Maya once you mentioned it. Um, and let's see here. Oh, Blended was actually the one that claimed responsibility for Maya being the witness. Um, and she says she had to see if what he had said about their connection was true. Um, so even though it hurt Adolin and Maya a little bit, it seemed, or I mean, it hurt Adolin more than it did Maya, to see her like that before she spoke out. But yeah, this is where we do actually find out, excuse me, the truth of the recreants. We don't know why, but
Yeah.
they Sprint and Human Radiance agreed to mutually break the bond.
I think they could have like written that down before they did it, so the sprint and Shadesmar wouldn't react so poorly.
Well, they didn't. Neither side knew what was going to happen. They were just like, "Well, this is what we got to
I
do."
mean, they probably knew that there was going to be a Deadeye. They were going to turn to Deadeyes. That they knew that, so they could have been like, "Hey guys, this is what we did. Putting it in Shadesmar. Peace out. Time to die."
But yeah, I don't know if they knew.
What did she say?
So Blended said this. I do not know if making new radiance is a good idea, but I must admit that your ancestors were not traitors. Something did frighten them enormously to cause humans and Spren to destroy their bonds. And if the Spren did not know they would die, then pieces of this puzzle are still missing. The questions are more complicated and more dangerous than we ever knew.
Yeah, but he goes, "Did you know the full cost, Maya? Did you and your Radiance know that you would become Deadeyes?" She eventually shook her head and whispered, "Pain, yes. Death, no. Maybe." Just saying. Could have contingency plans. People write shit down.
But also, I don't know if that was verification that they knew that dead eyes were a thing before.
They had to have people break their bond for 7,000 years, like or
Oh,
three, 4,000 years. Probably. There should be actually a lot more Deadeyes.
yeah,
It said there was 2,000 of them, which died in the recommend. So there actually wasn't that many sprint. It's interesting.
yeah,
All right, we can move on. Very cool chapter. Probably the highlight of this week's reading.
yeah.
Chapter 95, What She Truly Was. Vinley. Now, this is 14 months ago, not 8 years ago, in case you're confused. Um, yeah. So this is during the battle at the end of book 2, where
Battle in the Rock.
yeah. Uh, so she's with the storm forms that are singing. She you know, she
She's
sees a
trying to flee.
human. She's trying to flee. She almost gets killed, but doesn't. She witnesses Esh and I die. And then she runs into the hole that Adolin made in book 2 to go um attack from the rear all those people. And then she watches stuff and she's like, "Oh my god!" And she's a coward. Dot, dot, dot.
Yeah. She also passed by Sureblood's corpse.
Yeah, that's sad.
Rip.
Yep, sure, bud.
Yeah. Yep. And you mentioned Adolin. She watched Adolin push her into the chasm.
Rip Ash and I.
Yep. Rip Esh and I. Then as she was hiding in that hole, the walls and building crumbled. And then she went, coward betrays some rocks. It's like, I am a coward. I am a coward. And
Mhm.
that's what she truly was. But it's not what she truly is.
Maybe. We'll
She
see.
was, but she's not is anymore.
Well, I mean, maybe. We shall see.
Yeah.
She's probably not gonna be, but she kind of is a little bit right now.
Yeah, she
Um,
is. She's
chapter,
unsure.
yeah, chapter 96. 96, A Thousand Lies. This is Vinley. She yeah. Um, Relaine finds her crying because she's like, "Hey, our people are still alive." Um, she reiterates what happened, how they left and didn't get murdered. And then she tells Relaine the entire story, and Relaine's like, what the fuck? That's crazy. You did all this." And she's like, "Yeah, I did. But we're gonna run away and we're gonna start over again. We're gonna be the last listeners again." Um, yeah. And then they're like, "All right." And then she's like, "All right, stuff's about to go down." To her like little rebellion. She's like, "Stuff's about to go down. Um, once all that happens, we will leave. We'll use that as a cover for our escape."
Yeah. He does warn her that Rabonio is likely wants her to take these maps, go to the Oath Gate, and seek out her people so they can follow her. Why they need I don't want to understand that because she has the fucking maps, right?
Yeah,
Rabonio has the map and it's labeled on there that they're in this location. This is their last known location. And the heavenly ones are likely scouting and updating maps and bringing them.
yeah,
Doesn't need Vinley unless she just wants to again betray Vinley and saying, "Hey, thanks for kind of like what happened with Kelsier, right? But in the Lord Ruler and Mayor, where Lord Ruler thanked Mayor for uh, giving up Kelsier.
but I mean, it was true though. She was burning metal, but he can pierce a copper cloud. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah,
it's that. Hey, thank
I
you.
mean,
Even,
yeah,
she didn't like. We don't know. Last we know, we don't believe that Mayor actually gave up verbally.
not yeah, not willingly.
And so this would be very similar. Like, oh, thank you, Vinley, for bringing us directly to the rest. Now we can either kill them or force them into.
Yeah, it just shows that Relaine doesn't know Raboniel. Like, I think she genuinely wants them to escape. I could see it being a reveal that Raboniel like helped the original listeners escape long ago, and maybe as an experiment to see if you could live without odium or some other stuff. Like, like she seems pretty genuine in wanting some people to like live without odium and stuff. So she just doesn't believe it's possible
He's a
for them
very
to believe.
complex character.
Yeah. So I think she's legit. Um, what do you
But
think?
and then the last thing is Vinley fears that the listeners will condemn her, but she wants to go anyway because her mother is there, and she is probably the only one who will still love her, and she wants to be loved.
Yeah, very sad.
But Vinley, there's more people that are gonna love you.
Yep, selling timber short.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Chapter 97, final chapter before the interludes.
Final chapter. It's Navani chapter. She's working a bunch.
I really did like the artwork, the experiments,
Yeah,
because you can see the white sand and the music bow in there.
yeah. Um, so she's working a bunch. She's doing like tones and rhythms and vibrations and all sorts of mumbo jumbo. Um, and then she's able to like do a thing that can extract void light from people. It's kind of cool, kind of like what the metal does. It's like the anti-odium rhythm, um, which is cool. And then Robonia comes, and she's like she tries to hide it, but Robonia sees through it, and then they kind of test it out, and it almost like it's not powerful enough to suck a fuse out of the gem heart. Um, but maybe that's a way to save some people that have been murdered in the future. Could be cool. Um, and yeah, they kind of she basically cracks the code, and then Raboniel is gonna. There's a bunch of science mumbo jumbo. They crack the code, and then she's like, "All right, oh, cool, I have this. I'm gonna reverse it, and I'm gonna murk some Spren." So we won the war. Peace out, basically.
And you totally skipped over the fact that
Oh,
Raboniel
she kills her
stabs her
daughter.
daughter.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of stuff happens. Huh?
Yeah. Um, let's see. So did I hear you mention that this probably could lead to pulling a fused out of a gem heart and returning the person to their normal self?
I
Is that
can
what
see
you were?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
because it like sucks on her gem heart, but doesn't get rid of her because it's not powerful enough.
That sounds so kinky. It sucks on her gem heart.
It does. Oh
Uh,
yeah, she also like tries to assassinate Raboni, which was really funny, but it doesn't really do anything.
yeah, the vacuum
Yeah,
anti-storm
she's
light.
like, ooh, this
Anti
anti-storm light. I gotta go walk over here while you play with it. Explosion. Oh, you're fine. Damn it. Yeah. So all of our Spren are gonna get murked. So rip the Spren. And the war is over.
Yeah. Yeah, the racium metal is cool. So if let's see, I mentioned it to Chris. I'm trying to remember what I was thinking. So she reversed it to put anti-void light in. What if you reversed it but had a gemstone that had storm light or void light and you stabbed somebody? Would you supercharge them?
No idea.
Come on, Justin. You're supposed to know these things. You're a
Yeah,
scholar.
I'm a I am a Artifabrian or whatever. Uh,
Artifabrian?
Artifabrian. I'm definitely an Artifabrian. That's what I went to LSU for.
Yeah. I don't know.
Um,
You were the first one to get that degree.
yeah, has not paid enough because the Ghost Blows aren't giving my Stormlight, man. It sucks.
Damn. Damn them.
Uh, yeah, I
They
mean it'd be cool. I don't know. You're gonna use this to do something, and when they do it, I'm gonna go, oh, that's cool. I'm sure that works if I think about it. Um,
like you need more power. Here, let me stab you with this knife. Wait, what?
yeah.
It's
I will
gonna
say
come over.
this.
It's got a gemstone on the end, and it's filled with stormlight, and it's gonna infuse it into you, and you're just gonna like glow like a god.
Yeah, I'll just say this for the listeners and for you. The Fuse and the Heralds really remind me of the people in a really great Sean Connery movie called Zardoz. You should watch Zardoz.
I'm trying to remember, did I actually watch that?
It's very good
And they remind you of them in what way?
because
Without spoiling.
they're like immortals and they want to die and they're kind of going crazy. Some of them are like young and old and weird. It's cool.
Okay.
It's a good
Initially,
it's a good movie.
I'll have to check.
Very, very strange.
We watched. Speaking of good movies, I'll get that to in a second. The last thing I wanted to mention in this chapter is just you don't have to go into detail, but Raboniel does explain about Axie and the axial interconnection, which is another thing. Like the bondsmiths are able to, um, one of their surges is on the axial interconnection, I think. Uh, so we get some real world knowledge transfer between Raboniel and Navani. So no doubt she's going to go back to Dalinar and tell him more about his powers. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, so movie, and then we'll get to the interludes. Wife and I watched a movie I'd never heard of before. It's a Robin Williams movie from 1990 called Awakenings, and he plays a doctor who's in a chronic clinic, and there's he's looking into I think it's there's a some clients that have encephalitis or encephalitic lethargica, and it's like this like, um, almost like a comatose state. But he discovers that there's certain things that they respond to and move to, and then he starts connecting it to Parkinson's disease and thinks uh, so that there's a medicine that they use to help people with Parkinson's called L-Dopa. And so he was like, I want to try this and I want to experiment on this. And so he gives it to Robert De Niro and sees some results. But yeah, good movie. I'd never heard of it before. Um, and we really enjoyed it.
That's cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Should also, I'm pretty sure you've watched it, but for anybody listening, 1 hour photo with Robin Williams. It's not a comedy, but it's a really good movie. He plays a photo developer at a 1 hour Photoshop. Um, but he's also like a creepy dude.
I do order, yeah.
Did you watch that movie?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, you probably watched it with me.
Probably.
Um, yeah, that's a good one too. Speaking of Robin Williams. Oh, and then another sorry.
You're good?
Yesterday morning when I got up and we were cooking breakfast, I went and put on Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, and Jules had never seen it, and that also has Robin Williams' voice as Batty, and then Tim Curry is the voice of the villain in that movie.
Cool.
So had
That's
a lot of
good.
Robin Williams this weekend.
Apparently.
I
He
miss
was
that guy.
yeah, he was great.
Fuck suicide. If you have suicidal thoughts, call somebody. Call that hotline.
Indeed.
Do something.
Well, speaking of that, not really. We get interlude 10. Hasina. We get Calvin's mom. This is basically she's like Calvin, you're Cal. She talks to Calvin's dad, and she's like, stop sucking. Why do you suck so much? And he's like, I don't know, I suck. And she's like, hey, talk to people that Calvin helped. And he's like, okay, maybe I'll do that. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Norrell. So we get some
yeah,
information about from Norrell, the battle shot guy that Kaladin put in therapy first, and he says he finds hope in Kaladin because Kaladin has the depression as bad as any of them, and he still finds a way to get up and continue on so that uh, he says if he can do it, then I can. So um, with that, this resonates with me a lot. Just seriousness here in real life. Um, I think being, I know I'm a successful person and I have my struggles. And I think it's beneficial for people who are successful to share their struggles in a manner of, hey, I deal with these things. I have to deal, I deal with a lot of the same struggles. It may not come across in the same manner and manifestation as others, but I deal with these things and I'm still successful. So if you view in this, I'm using myself as an example, but put anybody that you look up to that you think is successful. And like if you look at them and go, okay, they're successful, and then you hear that, oh, they struggle with such and such and such, and they still are in this, use that, it's like it gives them hope, some kind of hope, like, hey, if that person can, I can too. So I like that that's in here.
sure. Yeah, yeah. His mom seems cool.
Yeah, and then she goes back to her maps.
Yeah. Then we got Interlude 11, Aiden. This is basically the end of The Last Jedi. There's a little kid. He's like, I'm gonna be a rebel, and that's kind of it. There's this dude. He's like, I'm gonna be a rebel, and his father's like, okay, all right, that's that.
Yeah, this is the kid that's gonna bond Notam,
All right,
but
you can see that.
because he joins his father feeling confident that today he will pick up his spear and earn his spren.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting child soldiers. Either way, he's gonna die, and it's gonna be really tragic.
Well, yeah, because Anakin Skywalker's coming over.
Yeah,
And
more.
it's like,
I think Rabona would be more the emperor.
Master Skywalker, what are
There are
we
too,
to do?
there's too many.
Shink.
Oh, that seems. Yeah, rip the younglings. What they should have done if they were smart, you get the kids, you turn them to Sith, and you have a bunch of Sith. Like, why would you kill the kid? But this is not Star Wars. Mm, This is yeah. So we got the last one, Interlude
Last
12.
Jedi.
You got any more? It really is just a scene from Last Jedi. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's
I wonder if he saw that scene and was just like, I should put that in my book. I don't know when the timelines intersect, but
I don't
yeah, it was just
remember much about that movie.
I just remember that. Like,
Is
it's
that
a
one
it's
with the code cracker? The code
yeah,
breaker?
yeah, it's the one with the really long side quest that ultimately doesn't matter, and then like the really slow space chase. But it ends with this little kid like sweeping the ground. He's like, "I'm gonna be a Jedi."
That's the
And
one with Laura Dern that was the admiral or the
yeah,
general. Okay, yeah.
it's not a good movie.
No,
But
it's not.
anyway, inspired Brand. I'm calling it now. Inspired Brandon Sanderson for this interlude. Then we got Terra Vangean interlude. he's basically trying to figure out how to like get Odium to reveal himself so we can stab him with Nightblood. And then Shadowknight appears and she's like, "Hey, I'll give you some of my children, and maybe he'll show up and be like, why you have my children?" And he's like, "Cool, I'll do that." So maybe that'll happen next part. That's basically it. I mean, it's cool. Caravan is always cool. Shadowknight's always cool. That's kind of what actually happens to the thing. You got any more on that?
Um, no. She confirms we kind of already knew that, but I think implicitly, but she says that Taravangian doesn't have the same protections that most humans have against odium, uh, because of the deals that he made. Um, so he could easily be killed by odium, and then that just fucks everything up. She also confirms that cultivation's influence is in him, and that it was her and not the Night Watcher. So, um, the three people that we know that had a boon from the Night Watcher actually got it from cultivation and not the Night Watcher.
Sure.
So, wonder if the Night Watcher actually ever did.
I don't know. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Probably, maybe. I don't know what else I'd be doing. Just chilling in the woods all for thousands of years. Um,
But also, Teravangian is he's on a down slope for his intelligence days. Like his extreme intelligent days now are like on the left side of the bell curve of his earlier days, whenever he was super intelligent. So
yeah, just like lift and down are his deal is ending. So,
yes,
so rip Teravangian, but he's also old, so he'd be
he is super old and he's getting weaker.
yep.
So
So he either needs to get those shards that you predicted soon, or he's kaput. All right, and that brings us to part 5. Knowing a home of songs called our burden. We get the entire Night's Radiant, um, which is a lot of people. We get
we had at
Navani.
the end of Oathbringer.
Yeah, we get Navani. We get Weirdly Bridge 4. There, I guess that means we're gonna get a David POV because he's the only one that's not a Knight's Rate and Relane. So we're gonna get David and Relane. They can just put that as their Bridge 4 because the rest of Bridge 4 are Knight's Radiant. Well, maybe they're Squires, whatever. Quibble. We get Teravangian. We get Moash. We get Lazane. Who's Lazane? Lazan, I guess. And then we get Wit. So we're gonna get a little Wit.
Oh,
We get like,
Elysian the Pursuer.
oh, okay. Weird.
Yeah, we get a POV from him.
All right, that's fine. Hopefully, it's just him being like, "Why do I suck so much? How do I not kill a Kaladin when he doesn't have any powers? What's wrong with me?"
Uh, yeah, it's funny that that's funny. But what I was gonna say was funny is the titles of the parts, because it's still following the same thing, whatever that type of poetry is called. But on this one, like parts 1 through 4 make up the first part, and then part 5 is the mirror of all of it. So it's burdens are calling, songs of home a knowledge, knowing a home of songs called our burden. So, in a way, it's it's a similar concept to a palindrome.
Yeah,
It's that symmetry.
yeah, and we notably don't get Vinley or Eshni, but we do get the Knights of Radiance. So that could be confirmation. A little spoiler if we get a Vinley POV, she's gonna become a Knights Radiant.
Or if we get a Eshonai POV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So yeah, stuff to look forward to.
Yeah. So next week we're finishing up book 4, Rhythm of War.
Are we? Okay, cool.
Yeah, all of part 5. The
Oh,
entirety of part 5.
right.
It's only
I don't look at the I don't look at the schedule, so that's good. That's fun to find.
yeah, how many pages is it? Let's see here. If I can find where my
1071 to 1230. It's like 150 pages or something.
yeah. Yeah, I have 153 pages, 153-ish pages. And then I do have the breakup for book 5. Um, it conveniently breaks itself up into 10 parts instead of 5.
Oh,
Um, so each each episode is going to be a part.
are there interludes between each 10 parts? It's crazy.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. There are 18 interludes.
That's crazy.
So each one has 3, 2 or
No,
3.
yeah, because
2. Each one has 2. Yeah, each one has 2, and then there's an epilogue.
yeah.
So,
I wonder if it's just Chiri learning English throughout the entire thing.
yeah.
That'd be
Um,
fun.
it was very hard for me to find all those things without reading chapter titles or looking at icons or anything and getting spoiled. Um, so, but it looks like um, part 2 of Wind and Truth is going to be the longest reading. Uh, then followed by parts 9 and 10. So chapter wise, number of chapters, part 9 is the most chapters at 28 chapters.
That'd be fun.
So yeah,
Yeah. Guess I
oh
should buy. Guess I should buy the book now.
yes. I mean, I've bought a hardback copy, the ebook and the audiobook, but um yeah, I
That's,
it'll be
that'd be fun.
exciting and hopefully none of the episodes are 5 hours long. Um
Yeah.
Today was another short episode, an hour and 42 minutes now, so
Yeah, I have a feeling next week's is gonna be long because yeah, I assume all the shit's gonna happen in this, just like last book. All this
yeah,
stuff's gonna happen.
get to read an entire book and talk about an entire book.
Basically.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us. If you haven't, like, follow, subscribe, share, leave a rating or review if you can anywhere. And visit our sponsor, Mudcat Whiskers. His website's www.mudcatwhiskers.com. And we will see you back here next week to finish up Rhythm of War.
Ah,
Bye. Oh, and when this releases, it's my daughter's birthday. So
happy birthday.
yeah, happy birthday. Bye.
Bye.